They towed my car. Are you crazy?
No. Just taking back what's mine.
Look, I'm a simple guy. I don't get emotional about weddings. But when your daughter's getting married, you show up looking decent. I actually ironed my shirt that morning instead of my usual spray and pray method. This was Emma's day, and I'd been writing checks for 6 months straight to make it perfect. The ceremony was beautiful, expensive as hell. The venue probably cost more than my truck, but seeing Emma's face made every overtime shift worth it. I smiled through endless photos, shook hands with people I'd never see again, and made small talk with Brian's college friends, who all looked like they worked at tech startups. Then we got to the reception, and everything went sideways. At the check-in table, this uptight woman handed out fancy gold-trimmed name badges to everyone ahead of me. When I stepped up, she slid a plain white badge across the table like she was dealing cards. No gold trim, just black text that said, "Limited access guest." Discriminate. It was a joke. Maybe Emma set up some prank, but nobody was laughing. "Is this a mistake?" I asked, holding it up. "That's your designation, sir," she said without looking up. My wife Susan leaned over and whispered, "That means no plate." Crimson. "What?" "No dinner. Limited access means ceremony and cocktail hour only." Let that sink in. I'm the father of the bride. I'd paid for this entire wedding, been bleeding money for months, and I don't get dinner. I get to watch everyone else eat the $70 salmon I personally financed while I scrounge for appetizers like a raccoon. I looked around the ballroom. Everyone was drinking champagne I'd paid for, heading to tables I'd reserved. Brian's family had those fancy gold badges. Then I spotted the gift table in the corner and saw my envelope. Inside was a check for $38,000. A year and a half of overtime, 3 canceled vacations, a delayed roof repair, and countless ramen dinners. Something snapped. Not angry flipping tables snapped, but clarity snapped. I walked to that gift table with nothing left to lose. The security lady gave me a look, but I just smiled and picked up my envelope. I held it high and announced cheerfully, "You know what? I don't think you'll be needing this anymore." The room didn't go silent like in movies, but conversations definitely stuttered. I saw Susan's face go from confused to horrified in seconds. Across the room, Emma's jaw dropped mid-selfie. "Come back," Susan hissed. "What are you doing?" But I was already heading for the exit, envelope under my arm like a football. Behind me, Emma's heels clicked frantically on marble. "Dad, wait!" Shortest. I didn't turn around. I pushed through those expensive doors and stepped into fresh air. Behind me, I could hear Emma's voice getting closer, Susan getting shriller, half the wedding party wondering what happened. I got to my truck, tossed the envelope on the passenger seat, and started the engine. Emma was in my rearview mirror, beautiful in that expensive dress, makeup running from tears, one hand reaching out. But not today. Today I was taking something back, and it felt good. That night I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, that badge flashed like a neon sign. Limited access guest. 3 words that summarized my entire relationship with my family. By sunrise, my phone was ground zero for a family crisis. Texts stacked up like pancakes. Missed calls that would make a telemarketer jealous. Voicemails I deleted without listening. Susan's text started around 7 a.m. "Can we talk? Don't make this a thing." Too late. It was a mistake. Right. A mistake that involved specifically changing my status. Think about Emma. This is eliminating her. Funny how she didn't think about me. Emma's messages hit that perfect bride in crisis note. "Don't embarrass me more than you already have." I embarrassed her? Everyone's asking what happened. Try the truth. This is supposed to be the happiest day of my life, and you ruined it. I ruined it by having standards. By noon, the texts escalated to calls. I ignored them all. Around 3 p.m., Susan texted, "Please come over. We need to clear the air." Curiosity won. I showed up at Susan's parents' house that evening. Her dad, Robert, and mom, Linda, were positioned on the couch like judges. Susan started her prepared statement. What happened was an oversight, a terrible, unfortunate oversight. Linda jumped in. nodding vigorously. The wedding planner made so many mistakes. We filed a complaint. Robert cleared his throat importantly. These things happen at big events. Miscommunication. I looked at each of them. They'd rehearsed this, getting their stories straight. So let me understand, I said. A wedding planner who cost more than a used car somehow accidentally downgraded the father of the bride, and nobody noticed during 6 months of planning? Thick, awkward silence. Susan switched to emotional appeal. Look, we know it looked bad. Look bad? I interrupted. You gave me a badge with less access than the photographer. I paid for the venue, food, open bar, flowers, DJ, and I got treated like I was crashing. They kept throwing around words like miscommunication and moving forward as a family. Every cliché from the handbook of people who screwed up but won't admit it. I let them talk in circles for 20 minutes. Finally, I held up a hand. You know what? Maybe I'll change my mind. Their faces lit up like Christmas morning. Susan's shoulders dropped. Linda actually smiled. They thought I was folding. I wasn't folding. I was letting them marinate in uncertainty. The morning after, I woke up thinking about something. The SUV. 8 months ago, Susan's car died. She needed wheels immediately, so I loaned her my paid-off SUV. 2 weeks tops, she promised. 2 weeks became 8 months. Every time I asked, new excuses. The mechanic's still looking. Insurance check hasn't cleared. My back hurts. I need the higher seat. But here's the thing. Registration was still my name. Insurance, my policy. Monthly parking at her apartment, my credit card. I called Randy's Towing. We go way back. Randy, remember that favor you owe me? Relink, what do you need? Pick up an SUV from 447 Maple Ridge Apartments, Building C, Spot 23. Silver Honda. Registration's in my name. Relinquit time. Check my watch. Susan left for yoga around 9:30. Let's say 9:15. You're evil, man. At 9:17, my phone rang. They're towing the car. Susan's voice could scare dogs 3 blocks away. Sure did, I said calmly. Why would you do this? Relinquit Susan. I'm changing insurance companies. Funny thing, your car that's been at the mechanic for 8 months is still registered to me. If I'm paying everything, I might as well have the actual vehicle. But I need that car. Should have thought about that before you decided I wasn't worth a dinner plate. This is about the wedding? You're punishing me? I'm just reclaiming my assets. Very financially responsible. She made a sound between shriek and growl. I heard the phone clatter as she rushed outside. After 30 seconds, she picked up. How could you do this? She easy. Called Randy, asked him to pick up my vehicle. Took 5 minutes. About the same time it took someone to change my guest status. Recognize. What am I supposed to drive? I don't know. Maybe check with the wedding planner. I hear she's responsible for unexpected problems. You're going to regret this. Silenced. I regret that commemorative plate I bought Emma. But this? Feeling pretty good about. Hung up and laughed. Not a chuckle, but full-body, tears-in-my-eyes laughter. My phone started ringing again. I declined it 3 times, then just turned it off. 3 blessed days of silence passed. Then on day 4, my phone rang. Susan's parents' landline. We'd like you to come over again, Susan said carefully. To really talk this time. Does really talk mean something different from regular talking? Tightening. Please. We want to work this out. I showed up that afternoon, mentally preparing for round 2. They'd set up in the dining room this time, more formal. Robert at the head because, of course. Emma was absent again, which told me everything. Thank you for coming, Robert started. We've had time to reflect on the situation. The situation? I repeated. That's one way to put it. We understand you felt disrespected, he said. Notice that word felt again. Susan jumped in. We know you're upset about the car too, but we're family. We make mistakes and forgive each other. Quick question. When does the forgiveness part kick in? I've been waiting for an actual apology. Silence. The uncomfortable kind. Robert cleared his throat. What would it take for you to reconsider your position? And there it was. Not to apologize, but to negotiate. You want to know what it would take? How about basic respect? How about acknowledging what happened wasn't a mistake, but a deliberate choice? It wasn't deliberate, Susan protested weakly. Really? That badge didn't appear from thin air. Someone went into a system and specifically changed my status. That's not an accident. That's a choice. Linda made a small sound. Robert's jaw tightened. So here's what I'm thinking, I continued. You want the honeymoon money? Fine. But it's not a gift anymore. It's a loan. 10 months repayment, 5% interest. I'll draw up paperwork. We'll do this like adults. Silence. Like I'd suggested we run naked through the mall. But it was a gift, Susan said quietly. That was before my limited access badge. Gifts are for people who value you. Loans are for people who need reminding money doesn't grow on trees. That seems harsh, Robert tried. What about family? Linda played her trump card. Family doesn't charge interest. Disregard, I said calmly. Family also doesn't hand out badges that say you're not important enough to eat with us. Family doesn't borrow cars for 8 months. So yeah, you're right about what family should do. Where was that energy at the wedding? More heavy silence. So that's it? Susan's voice cracked. You'll treat your daughter like a debtor? I'll treat her like an adult who made choices and gets to deal with consequences. I stood up. You want the money? It's available as a loan. 10 months, 5% interest. Show Emma and Brian. They can decide. I headed for the door. Oh, and delete me from the family group chat. I'm done reading about blessed family from people who couldn't guarantee me a chair. I walked out, leaving 3 stunned faces behind. That night I did something unexpected. I actually relaxed, made decent dinner, cracked a beer, watched a game I didn't care about. Around 9:30, my phone buzzed. Brian Mitchell, the groom. I stared at it, debating. Curiosity won again. Mr. Reed, I hope it's okay I'm texting. I wanted to reach out personally. I've been hearing a lot about what happened, and you deserve an apology. A real one. What happened wasn't right, and I'm sorry. I didn't know about the badge until after you left. When I found out, I was horrified. That's not how you treat family. I read it 3 times. An actual apology. No excuses, no passive voice garbage. From my son-in-law, the one person with the least obligation to care. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate you reaching out. Emma's pretty torn up, he replied. I think she knows she messed up but doesn't know how to fix it. Her mom keeps saying you're being dramatic. But honestly, if someone gave me a limited access badge at my own wedding, I'd probably burn the place down. You just took your check back. Pretty restrained, actually. I smiled. A real smile. We texted for 20 minutes. He told me about honeymoon planning, dealing with the reality that money they'd counted on was now contingent on paperwork. Emma's upset about the loan thing, he admitted. But I get it. My dad always said there's no such thing as free money. If we take it, we should pay it back. Are you going to take the loan? I asked. I want to. The terms are fair. Having something in writing feels better than taking money and hoping nobody gets mad later. But Emma's still processing. Her mom keeps saying family doesn't operate like a business. Take your time deciding, I typed. The money's not going anywhere. Well, except maybe toward my roof repair. Restrictions. For what it's worth, I think you're handling this better than most people would. You're just being clear about boundaries. That's healthy. Strings. Standing up for yourself wasn't toxic or dramatic. It was healthy. After we said goodnight, I sat with my phone. That small conversation did something I didn't expect. It reminded me decency still existed. Brian didn't have to reach out. He didn't owe me anything. But he texted anyway, apologized for something that wasn't his fault, treated me like a human being. That small act did more for me than all of Susan's excuses and Linda and Robert's non-apologies combined. It reminded me my expectations weren't too high. I was just asking for bare minimum consideration. I slept better that night than I had in months. Not because anything was resolved, but because one person said what happened was wrong, and you didn't deserve it. Sometimes that's all you need. A week later, I got a text from an unknown number. Hi, Mr. Reed. This is Nicole Chen. I'm Brian's cousin. We met at the wedding. I helped with the guest book. I hope you don't mind Brian giving me your number, but I have information I think you should know. Can I call? I plighted the message. Blue dress, guest book. Yeah, vaguely remembered her. One of the few people who'd smiled genuinely. Sure, I typed back. She called 10 seconds later. Mr. Reed, thank you for taking my call. I've been debating whether to reach out. I helped coordinate the seating chart and guest badges. I was basically the assistant's assistant. Okay, I said slowly. You were originally listed as VIP family, top tier, reserved seating at head table, full meal service. I saw it myself 3 months before the wedding. My hand tightened on the phone. Originally. Right. 3 days before the wedding, I got an email with changes. Your status changed from VIP family to limited access guest. I thought it was a mistake. Who downgrades the father of the bride? So I called to confirm. And who was the primary contact? Your wife, Susan. She confirmed the change was correct, said it was intentional. When I questioned it, she told me it's complicated family dynamics and not my concern. The room felt smaller. She changed it herself. Rejection. And there's more. After I updated your status, I sent confirmation to all primary decision makers. That included your wife and daughter. Standard procedure. Your daughter replied within an hour. She wrote, "Approved. Thanks for handling this. Just don't make a big deal about it with anyone else." My coffee threatened to come back up. Do you still have those emails? I do. I save everything for liability. I can forward them if you want proof. Shill, please. 2 minutes later, the emails arrived. 3 forwarded messages laying out the whole timeline. Original seating chart with my name at head table marked VIP. Susan's email requesting the change, cold and businesslike. And Emma's response. Approved. Thanks for handling this. Just don't make a big deal about it. Mailboxed. Don't make a big deal about it. I read that line 15 times. My daughter approved my demotion and asked the coordinator to keep it quiet. All that talk about being too busy and stressed whenever I'd asked about seating. It wasn't stress. It was avoidance. They knew what they'd done. Knew I'd have questions. Decided not to deal with it until too late. Except, they miscalculated. They thought I'd be so committed to not making a scene that I'd swallow my humiliation and pretend everything was fine. They were wrong. I forwarded the emails to myself in 3 different accounts. Then just sat there, staring at proof my own family conspired to exclude me from a celebration I funded. My phone rang. Susan. I declined it. It rang again. Declined. Then a text. We need to talk. Now. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my laptop, created a folder labeled Wedding Receipts, saved all the emails Ashley sent, added every invoice I'd paid. $38,000, itemized and documented. Then I drafted an email. To whom it may concern. Attached, please find documentation regarding seating arrangements for the Mitchell-Reed wedding. As you'll see, the change to my guest status was neither error nor oversight, but deliberate choice made by the bride and her mother 3 days prior. I'm sharing this not out of spite, but because I believe in transparency. I didn't add recipients yet. That email was just for me, sitting in drafts like a loaded tool. My phone rang again. Susan. This time I answered. Did you put Nicole up to this? She demanded. Did you pay her? Put her up to it? I didn't know who she was until an hour ago. She reached out because she has something you and Emma don't, a conscience. Those emails are private. Those emails are evidence. Evidence you deliberately changed my status and Emma approved it. Evidence the whole, it was a mistake story is complete garbage. Silence. The kind that feels like falling. It wasn't meant to humiliate you, she finally said. There wasn't enough room. You cut the father of the bride, not some distant cousin. And you want? An apology. Done. I'm sorry. What I want is for you to stop insulting my intelligence. You're not sorry you did it. You're sorry you got caught. I hung up, turned off my phone, and sat in quiet with proof of my family's betrayal saved in multiple formats. The truth shall set you free, right? I was free now. Free from any remaining doubt about whether I was overreacting. Free from guilt about taking back my check. Free from obligation to pretend everything was fine. But freedom feels a lot like loneliness at first. Give it time, though, and it starts to feel like peace. Days following Nicole's revelation were weird. Turns out being right about your family conspiring against you isn't the victory it sounds like. Susan tried full court press for 48 hours. Calls, texts, voicemails that started apologetic and ended accusatory. even an email. Can we please be adults about this? On Thursday evening, while making dinner, my phone buzzed. Susan's face from 5 years ago when we liked each other. I let it ring. The voicemail came. Jim, please, can we just talk like adults? Family makes mistakes. We mess up, apologize, move forward. You can't shut us out forever. Think about Emma. Is your pride really worth losing your family over? The audacity was impressive, turning my justified reaction into a character flaw. I deleted it without responding. After dinner, I pulled up that loan agreement I'd mentioned. Spent an hour crafting the most professional, airtight document. Principal amount, $38,000. Interest, 5% annually. Repayment term, 10 months. First payment due 30 days after signing. Even included early repayment without penalty and standard default procedures. I saved it as readmitchellfinal.pdf and attached it to an email. Emma and Brian. As discussed, attached is the loan agreement for the $38,000. Terms are outlined clearly. If you choose to accept, please print, sign, scan, and return by end of month. If not, no hard feelings. I'll redirect funds toward home improvements and a vacation I've been putting off. Brian, thanks again for reaching out last week. It meant a lot. Mark. I hovered over send for 3 seconds before clicking. The whoosh felt weirdly final. Phone rang immediately. Susan. A loan agreement? You actually sent them formal paperwork? They treated me like a stranger at the wedding. Seems fair to return the favor. Minimize family into business. Family stopped being family when you changed my status and lied about it. Might as well make these arrangements official. You're punishing her because you're mad at me. Pressured money on very reasonable terms. Your own father would call this a sweet deal. She made a sound, half sob, half growl. What do you want from us? I want to protect my peace like it's a vintage car, because it took me 52 years to realize I actually have peace to protect. Blocked her number. Then did something both petty and necessary. I opened the family group chat. Family squad, with that stupid house emoji. Scrolled through recent messages. Marlene posted about a charity 5K. Emma shared honeymoon planning selfies. Linda sent good morning messages with 40 emojis. Not a single mention of the wedding disaster. Just business as usual. I typed, "Hey everyone, just wanted to let you know I'm leaving the group. If you need me, use my actual phone number." I clicked leave before overthinking it. My phone immediately buzzed with individual texts. I didn't read any. Just turned off notifications and finished my whiskey. The silence in my house felt different. Not lonely, just mine. I walked around taking inventory of things I'd been meaning to fix. Loose bathroom hinge. Weird ceiling spot. Back deck needing stain. Overgrown garden. I made a list. Actual list. On paper. House projects now that I'm not funding other people's poor decisions. Sluggish deck staining went at top. Then converting spare bedroom into actual office instead of storage for everyone's junk. I looked at that list and felt excitement. Not about obligations, but something for me. My space, time, choices. Then I browsed vacation destinations. Not fancy resorts, just quiet places. Mountains, maybe. Small beach towns where nobody knew my name. Bookmarked 7 locations. Made notes about which allowed dogs. Because maybe I'd get a dog now. Somewhere across town, my family was probably having emergency meetings about my behavior. And here I was, researching dog-friendly cabins and planning to stain my deck. I went to bed with phone on silent, doors locked, conscience clear. Tomorrow I'd start on that deck. Maybe call about office renovation. Possibly look into therapy because Brian thought I needed it, and the kid might be right. But tonight, I enjoyed the calm. The absence of drama. Because family doesn't get unlimited chances just because they're family. Eventually, even the most patient person runs out. And I was completely out. 2 weeks passed. Most peaceful 14 days I'd experienced since before Emma was born. Stained the deck, got stain on favorite jeans, didn't regret it. Fixed bathroom hinge in 20 minutes. 2-year squeak solved with $3 part. Started clearing spare bedroom. Turned into archaeological dig of family's abandoned stuff. Susan's exercise equipment she used twice? Gone. Emma's high school boxes from 2019? Curb with free sign. Mother-in-law's Christmas decorations stored at my place? Returned via confused delivery service. Then my birthday came. 53. Not a milestone, just another year. I woke expecting something. Maybe guilt trip voicemail, passive-aggressive card, definitely some acknowledgement. Nothing. Complete radio silence. My phone displayed 0 notifications from family. I made coffee. Good coffee. Sat on newly stained deck watching sunrise. My neighbor Frank waved. Deck looks good. Happy birthday, by the way. Doing anything special? Misinformation. Genuinely surprised Frank remembered. My neighbor remembered. My family? Crickets. Just keeping it low-key. Maybe grab pizza. Around noon, mail came. Bills, junk, one envelope that looked like greeting card. From Susan. Generic pill store card, sunset photo, gold foil letters. Inside, Mark, we miss you. Things got out of hand, and I know we haven't handled everything perfectly, but this silence isn't helping anyone. Your family has to mean something. We should talk. Call me. Love, Susan. I read it twice, looking for actual apology. Nope, just things got out of hand, like events happened spontaneously. Haven't handled everything perfectly. Understatement of century. This silence isn't helping anyone, meaning your boundaries are inconvenient. No, I'm sorry. No, we were wrong. No, you didn't deserve that. Most insulting part? No signature from Emma. Susan sent it on behalf of both without Emma contributing anything. I walked back to my house and dropped the card in my junk drawer, right on top of Susan's previous letter. 2 pieces of half apologies surrounded by literal garbage, because that's where they belonged. I grabbed my keys, drove to favorite pizza place. Hey Mark, haven't seen you in a while. The usual? Shouldn't, Tony. It's my birthday. What's the most ridiculous pizza you can make? He grinned that big grin. Say no more. I got you. 20 minutes later, walked out with large pizza that was basically heart attack waiting to happen. Extra cheese, 4 meats, jalapenos, some garlic situation in the crust. Cost $40. Old me would have hesitated. New me didn't blink. Drove home, carried that pizza inside like holy grail. Set it on coffee table, grabbed good beer, settled onto couch. No plates, no napkins, just paper towels. No family judging my choices. Just me, Tony's pizza, whatever was on TV. Around third slice, phone rang. Unknown number. Let it go. Rang again. Again. Fourth call, answered. Is this Mark Reed? Depends who's asking. Shirts, she laughed. I'm Rachel, Emma's college roommate. We met at graduation. I'm calling because I heard what happened at the wedding, and I just wanted to say good for you. I almost dropped my pizza. What? Good for you. For walking out. For taking back your check. Emma called crying about how you're ruining everything. After she told me what actually happened, the badge thing, I told her she was lucky you only took back the check. My dad would have set something on fire. I laughed. A real laugh. We talked 15 minutes. Her telling stories about Emma, me explaining the saga. By the time we hung up, I had another voice confirming my boundaries weren't too rigid. I finished 5 slices, saved rest for breakfast, and pulled out a notebook. Leather-bound one Emma gave me for Father's Day 3 years ago I'd never used. At top I wrote, what I will and won't accept from family. Started listing. Won't accept being treated as afterthought while being everyone's first priority. Won't accept exclusion disguised as complicated family dynamics. Won't accept half apologies blaming circumstances instead of acknowledging choices. Won't accept being someone's backup plan, emergency fund, emotional punching bag. Then the other column, what I would accept. Will accept genuine apologies acknowledging specific wrongs. Will accept relationships built on mutual respect, not obligation. Will accept that some people won't understand my boundaries, and that's okay. Finally, will protect my peace because it took years to rebuild, and I'm not letting anyone crash it again. Read through twice, added more items, closed notebook, set it on coffee table where I could see it daily. Reminder that boundaries aren't walls. They're gates. And I got to decide who had keys. Phone stayed quiet rest of night. Just beautiful, peaceful birthday silence. I raised my beer towards ceiling. To 53. To no longer being limited access guest in my own life. Best birthday I'd had in years. Because the best gift you can give yourself is permission to stop accepting less than you deserve. Even if, especially if, that means celebrating alone. 2 months slid by like water. Quiet and clean. Filled calendar with things that mattered. Poker nights with Frank and his buddies. Golf Sunday mornings. Backyard barbecues where only drama was whether steaks were medium rare. Real friends. Real peace. Then my phone buzzed. Emma's name. I miss you. I stared at those 3 words. Remembered the badge, lies, silence on my birthday. Part of me, old me, wanted to respond immediately. Fix things. Be good dad who always came back. But I didn't type anything. Some silences are sacred. That night I opened my notebook, reread my list. What I will and won't accept from family. Every boundary still felt right, necessary. Poured myself drink, raised glass to empty room. To me, no longer limited access guest. Because truth is, I didn't lose family that night at wedding. I just finally saw who was really behind the seating chart, and I reclaimed my own table.